I wasn't supposed to enjoy it. The first time I put on Mia's dress, it wasn't supposed to feel good. It was supposed to be a stupid joke. A harmless dare. Something I could laugh about later while drinking beer with my friends. Instead, it changed everything. Even now, months later, I still remember the exact moment it began. Quiet apartment. The faint smell of Mia's perfume lingering in the bedroom. The sound of the door clicking shut behind her as she left for work. And the voice in my head whispering something I had been trying to ignore for years. Just try it. I wish I could say I ignored that voice. But I didn't. And that's when my life started splitting into two completely different versions of myself. My name is Daniel Carter, 28 years old. I worked as a software engineer for a cybersecurity company downtown. My life was ordinary, predictable, kind of life most people would call stable. Every weekday looked the same. Wake up at 7. Coffee. Commute through the same crowded streets. Spend 8 hours staring at code and security reports. Then come home to the one person who made everything feel worth it. Mia. If you saw us together, you'd think we were perfect. She was the kind of woman people noticed the moment she walked into a room. Long dark hair, confident smile, the kind of energy that made everyone feel comfortable around her. She worked as a fashion stylist, which meant our apartment was always filled with clothing racks, shoes, makeup kits, and designer boxes. First, I used to joke about it. "You have more shoes than the entire mall," I told her once. She just laughed. Occupational hazard. Our place slowly started looking less like an apartment and more like a backstage dressing room. Heels near the couch. Makeup brushes on the kitchen counter. Dresses hanging on door handles. Mia loved fashion. She loved transformation. She loved the way clothes could make someone feel like a completely different person. And I loved her. But there was one thing she didn't know about me. Something I had buried so deep I convinced myself it didn't exist anymore. Curiosity I had first felt years ago. Back in college. One night during a stupid dorm party, someone dared me to wear a girl's wig and lipstick for a prank video. Everyone laughed, including me. But when I saw my reflection in the mirror, something strange happened. For just a moment, I didn't want to take it off. The feeling scared me so much I buried it immediately. I told myself it was nothing. Just curiosity. Just a stupid moment. And for years, I never thought about it again. Till Mia moved in. Living with someone who works in fashion does something to your brain. At first I didn't notice it. But slowly little things started catching my attention. The way fabrics felt when I helped Mia carry clothes. The smell of perfume in the air. The sound of heels clicking on the floor when she walked across the apartment. Sometimes she would ask me to help zip a dress or hold something while she got ready for an event. And every time I stood there, watching her transform in front of the mirror, that old curiosity would whisper again. What would it feel like? I ignored it. I always ignored it. 'Cause I loved Mia. 'Cause normal guys didn't think about things like that. Because if she ever knew, I had no idea how she would react. Mia loved fashion. But loving fashion and dating a guy who secretly tried on dresses? Those were two very different things. So I kept the thought locked away. 4 years. Until the night everything changed. It started with something incredibly stupid. A bet. Mia had just returned from a long photo shoot. She walked into the apartment carrying a huge garment bag and dropped it on the couch. "You would not believe what happened today," she said. I looked up from my laptop. "That bad?" She smirked. "Male model quit 10 minutes before the shoot." "So what did you do?" She grinned mischievously. "I had to put one of the interns in the outfit. And, let's just say, watching a guy try to walk in heels is the funniest thing I've seen all year." I laughed. "Hey, it can't be that hard." Mia slowly turned toward me. The smile on her face changed. Oh, really? That should have been my warning. You think you could do it? She asked. Walk in heels? Yeah. I shrugged confidently. How hard could it be? Her eyes lit up like she had just discovered the greatest idea in the world. Oh my God. Mia, you should try it. I laughed nervously. Yeah, no. Come on. No. Daniel. Mia. She crossed her arms and tilted her head. You're telling me a confident software engineer is scared of a pair of shoes? I'm not scared. Prove it. There it was. The moment I should have walked away. Instead, I smiled. Fine. Her grin widened instantly. Perfect. Before I could even react, she disappeared into the bedroom. A few seconds later, she returned holding something in her hands. Black high heels. Not the small kind either. Tall. Dangerous. Absolutely not, I said. You promised. I said, walking in heels. Yes. Not those heels. She laughed. Don't worry, I'll help you. Something in my chest started beating faster. This was supposed to be funny. Just a joke. A moment we'd laugh about later. But as Mia placed the shoes on the floor in front of me, that old voice came back. Just try it. I hesitated. And Mia noticed. What's wrong? She asked. Nothing. You look nervous. I'm not nervous. She smirked. Then put them on. I looked at the heels. Then at Mia. Then back at the heels. This was ridiculous. A stupid bet. Nothing more. So I sat down on the couch. Slowly, I slipped my feet into the shoes. The moment they slid on, something strange happened. The leather hugged my feet. The heel lifted me higher. And when I stood up, my balance shifted completely. Careful, Mia laughed. I took one awkward step. Then another. Mia was already laughing uncontrollably. Oh my God, this is amazing. I should have been embarrassed. I should have ripped them off immediately. But as I walked across the room, something unexpected happened. I started getting better. Tap, tap, tap. The strange balance started feeling natural. And when I accidentally looked toward the hallway mirror, I froze. There I was, standing in Mia's heels, looking completely ridiculous, but also feeling something I couldn't explain. Mia wiped tears from her eyes from laughing. Okay, that was worth it. She grabbed her phone. Wait, let me take a picture. No way. Relax, it's just for me. Before I could argue, the camera flashed. And that's when I made the biggest mistake of my life. Because when Mia looked at the photo, she slowly smiled. Not the laughing smile from before. A different one. Curious. Interested. You know, she said quietly. What? She looked at me from head to toe. You're actually not terrible at that. I rolled my eyes. They're shoes, Mia. She tilted her head. No, I mean it. Her eyes sparkled with a dangerous idea. What if we tried something else? My stomach tightened. What do you mean? She smiled slowly. A full look. I laughed nervously. Yeah, not happening. But Mia was already walking toward the bedroom again. And when she returned, she was holding a dress. She placed it gently on the couch next to me. And then she said the sentence that would change my life forever. Just for fun. I stared at the dress. My heart started pounding. This was the moment I should have said no. The moment I should have stopped everything. But the truth? The honest truth I didn't want to admit? Part of me was curious. And that was the moment I realized something terrifying. I wasn't supposed to enjoy this, but I already did. And I had no idea that trying on that dress would start a chain of events that would completely destroy the life I thought I knew. But before we continue, I want to ask you something. If you were in my position, would you have stopped right there? Or would you have tried the dress too? 'Cause what I did next changed everything. And Mia's reaction? That's when things got really dangerous. For a long moment, I just stared at the dress. It was simple but elegant. Soft black fabric, smooth and slightly shiny under the living room light. Kind of dress Mia wore to casual fashion events or dinner with friends. And now it was sitting on the couch next to me, waiting. Mia leaned against the wall with that mischievous smile she always had when she was about to talk me into something ridiculous. "Relax," she said. "It's just a joke." That word should have comforted me. Joke. But my heart was beating way too fast for this to feel like a joke. "I already wore the heels," I said. "Yes," she replied casually. "And you survived. I think that's enough humiliation for one night." Mia laughed. "Oh, please. No one is here." She gestured around the empty apartment. "Just us." That somehow made it worse. 'Cause the truth was, I trusted Mia more than anyone in the world. Which meant if I embarrassed myself in front of her, it would somehow feel even more real. "You're thinking too much," she said, noticing my hesitation. "I'm not thinking." "You absolutely are." She walked over and picked up the dress. The fabric slipped between her fingers like water. "Daniel," she said softly, "you already did the hardest part." "What was that?" "The heels." She pointed to my feet. I had almost forgotten I was still wearing them. Standing there in Mia's black heels suddenly felt strange. Not funny. Not embarrassing. Just strange. And when I shifted my weight, I realized something unsettling. My body had already started adjusting to them. "You're getting comfortable," Mia said with a teasing smile. "I am not. Your posture says otherwise." I glanced at the mirror across the hallway again. And she wasn't wrong. Standing in heels had forced my back straight. My shoulders looked different. My movements had changed without me noticing. It was subtle but real. "That doesn't mean anything," I said quickly. "Of course not," Mia replied. But her eyes were studying me in a way that made my stomach tighten. "Come on," she said, holding up the dress again. "Just try it over your clothes." "Over my clothes?" "Yes. Like right now." "Daniel, I style people for a living. I promise I've seen worse." I rubbed my face. This was getting ridiculous. But at the same time, something inside me was curious. Not the nervous curiosity I'd felt before. Something deeper. Something that had been quiet for years. "You're enjoying this way too much," I told her. She grinned. "Absolutely." Then she lowered her voice slightly. "But I also think you're curious." The words hit me harder than I expected. "I'm not." You hesitated. "That doesn't mean anything." "Daniel." "What?" She stepped closer. "So what's the real reason you're nervous?" I opened my mouth to answer. But nothing came out. 'Cause the truth was, I didn't know the answer myself. Was I embarrassed? Probably. Was I scared Mia would judge me? Definitely. But there was another feeling mixed in with those emotions. A strange excitement I didn't want to admit. And Mia noticed my silence. Her teasing smile softened slightly. "You know," she said quietly, "fashion is just expression." I raised an eyebrow. "You're giving me a motivational speech now?" "I'm serious." She sat next to me on the couch. People wear clothes to become different versions of themselves all the time. Yeah, but usually not like this. Why not? Because guys don't wear dresses. She tilted her head. Some do. Not me. Why? I sighed. Because that's weird. She looked genuinely confused. Is it? Yes. According to who? I didn't have an answer. 'Cause suddenly the conversation felt different. Less like a joke. More like something else entirely. Mia slowly placed the dress in my hands. Just hold it, she said. I hesitated, then grabbed it. The fabric felt incredibly soft. Lighter than I expected. You see, she said. Not so scary. I didn't say it was scary. Your face disagrees. I shook my head. You're unbelievable. And you're still holding the dress. I looked down. She was right. And something about that simple fact made my pulse quicken. You know what the funniest part is? Mia continued. What? I think you'd actually look good. I laughed loudly. Okay, now you're just lying. I'm serious. Please stop. Daniel. What? You already have the height for it. That's not helping. And your legs. Mia. She burst out laughing. Okay. But her amusement faded quickly. Instead, she studied me again. This time more carefully. You're really nervous, she said softly. I shrugged. Maybe. Why? Because this is weird. For you. Yes. But is it bad? That question lingered in the air longer than I expected. Was it bad? Or was it just unfamiliar? My brain was trying to convince me this was stupid. But another part of me was curious. Curious enough that I was still holding the dress. You're overthinking again, Mia said. Probably. So here's the deal. I narrowed my eyes. What deal? You tried on for 5 minutes. And then we laugh about it and order pizza. That's it. I looked at the dress again. 5 minutes. That was nothing. Just a stupid moment. A weird memory. Something we'd laugh about later. 5 minutes, Mia repeated. I took a slow breath. Then I stood up. Fine. Her eyes lit up immediately. Seriously? Yes. Daniel Carter wearing a dress. Don't make it weird. It's already weird. She grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the bedroom. Come on. This was a mistake, I muttered. You say that about everything. The bedroom lights flicked on. Clothes hung everywhere. Shoes lined the wall. The air smelled like perfume and fabric spray. Mia closed the door behind us. Then she pointed toward the bathroom. You can change in there. Good. Take the heels off first. I looked down at my feet again. Part of me had forgotten they were still there. I carefully stepped out of them. The sudden drop in height felt strange. Then I looked at the dress in my hands. This was the moment. Point where I could still walk away. Say the joke was over. But instead, I walked into the bathroom and locked the door. My heart was pounding so loudly I could hear it in my ears. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. 5 minutes, I whispered. That was all. Just 5 minutes. I slowly removed my shirt. Then my jeans. Soon I was standing there in nothing but my underwear, holding Mia's dress. The fabric felt even softer now. I swallowed nervously. Then I lifted the dress over my head. The fabric slid down my body, cool against my skin. Light. Flowing. Different. When it settled around my waist, I froze. Because the feeling was something I hadn't expected at all. Not embarrassment. Not humiliation. Something else. something warm, something strangely exciting. I slowly turned toward the mirror, and for the first time in my life, I saw myself wearing a dress. My heart skipped, 'cause the thought that immediately appeared in my head terrified me. This doesn't feel wrong. And that was the moment everything inside me started changing. But what I didn't know yet was that the real danger wasn't the dress. It was Mia. Because when I opened that bathroom door, her reaction would make things far more complicated than I ever imagined. I stood in the bathroom for almost a full minute before opening the door. My hand rested on the handle, but I couldn't bring myself to turn it. The mirror behind me reflected someone I barely recognized. The black dress hung slightly loose around my waist, the fabric brushing gently against my thighs. Felt lighter than normal clothes, almost freeing in a strange way. I kept staring, trying to figure out why my chest felt so tight. This was supposed to feel ridiculous, embarrassing. But the truth? I didn't hate it. And that scared me more than anything. "Daniel," Mia called from the bedroom. "You okay in there?" My throat felt dry. "Yeah, just a second." I took a deep breath and turned toward the door. 5 minutes, I reminded myself. That was the deal. Nothing more. Just 5 minutes. I opened the door. Mia was sitting on the edge of the bed scrolling through her phone, but the moment she heard the door open, she looked up. And then she froze. For a full 2 seconds, she didn't say a word. Her eyes slowly moved from my face, down to the dress, then back up again. The silence made my stomach twist. "Well?" I asked awkwardly. Mia blinked. Then something completely unexpected happened. She didn't laugh. Instead, she stood up slowly. "Wow." That single word made my heart race. "What?" I asked nervously. She walked toward me, studying me carefully like she was analyzing a fashion model. "Turn around." I stared at her. "You're kidding." "I'm serious." "Mia." "Daniel, I promise I'm not making fun of you." Her tone sounded strangely sincere. So reluctantly, I turned. The dress swayed slightly around my legs. Mia circled me slowly like a stylist inspecting a new outfit. Then she stopped in front of me again. Her expression had completely changed. Teasing smile was gone. Now she looked intrigued. "You know what the weirdest part is?" she said. "I'm afraid to ask." "You actually pull it off." I laughed nervously. "No, I don't." "You kind of do." "That's not funny." "I'm not joking." She walked closer and gently adjusted the shoulder of the dress. "There." Her fingers brushed my skin for a moment. "See?" I looked toward the bedroom mirror. And my stomach flipped. 'Cause Mia was right about one thing. Didn't look nearly as ridiculous as I expected. Still looked strange. But somehow not completely wrong. "You're thinking again," Mia said. "I always think." "Not like this." I rubbed the back of my neck. "Okay, 5 minutes are probably up. You've been out here for 30 seconds. Good enough." I started walking toward the bathroom again. But Mia grabbed my arm. "Wait." "What?" Her eyes sparkled with another dangerous idea. "I just want to try one thing." "Mia." "Relax." She walked to her dresser and opened the top drawer. I already knew what was inside before she even turned around. Makeup. Lots of it. "Oh no," I said immediately. "Oh yes." "No chance." "Daniel, it's literally 2 minutes. This is getting out of control." She raised an eyebrow. "You already crossed the line when you put on the dress." "That's different." "How?" I opened my mouth, then closed it again. She smiled victoriously. "Exactly." Before I could protest further, she grabbed a small makeup brush and stepped closer. Hold still. Mia, trust me. I sighed. This is the worst decision I've made all week. Probably. Her fingers gently tilted my chin upward. The brush lightly touched my face. Felt strange. Soft. Ticklish. What are you doing? I asked. Just a little foundation. Why? So your skin tone matches the dress better. That sentence shouldn't exist. She laughed quietly while continuing her work. Then she stepped back. Okay, now open your eyes. I hadn't even realized I closed them. When I did, I immediately looked toward the mirror again. And my breath caught. Change was subtle, but real. My skin looked smoother. My face slightly softer. Different. My heart started pounding again. See, Mia said proudly. That's weird. Good weird or bad weird? I don't know. She crossed her arms and studied me again. You know what would really complete the look? No. You don't even know what I was going to say. Wig. Okay, yes, but still. Mia. She burst out laughing. Fine, fine. Then she sat back on the bed. You can take it off if you want. The word surprised me. You're done. For now. For now. She shrugged casually. I'm just saying it was fun. I walked back toward the mirror one more time. The dress moved softly around my legs with each step. The feeling of the fabric brushing my skin sent a strange chill through my body. And once again that dangerous thought appeared in my mind. Why does this feel good? I quickly looked away from my reflection. This was a mistake, I muttered. Mia tilted her head. Was it? Yes. But you're still wearing it. I looked down. She was right. And for some reason, I wasn't rushing to take it off. That realization made my chest tighten again. Because the biggest problem wasn't the dress, or the heels, or even the makeup. The real problem was something much harder to admit. Part of me didn't want to stop. And Mia noticed. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Then she said something that made my heart skip. You know Daniel. What? I think you enjoyed that. I quickly shook my head. No way. Really? Absolutely not. She smiled slowly. Then why are you smiling? My stomach dropped. I hadn't even realized I was. And suddenly the room felt much quieter. Much heavier. 'Cause the truth was becoming impossible to ignore. I wasn't supposed to enjoy this. But something deep inside me already did. And that's when Mia leaned forward slightly and said something that changed the entire situation. Maybe next time. My heart skipped. What next time? She smiled mischievously. We try the full outfit. I felt a sudden rush of panic. 'Cause in that moment, I realized something terrifying. This little joke was turning into something much bigger. And I wasn't sure I had the strength to stop it. But the real chaos was just beginning. Because what Mia planned next would push me into a situation where hiding my secret would become almost impossible. And someone unexpected was about to show up. Someone who definitely shouldn't see me like this. If you were Daniel in this moment, would you stop now? Or would curiosity pull you deeper into the secret? 'Cause the next part is where everything spirals out of control. That night should have ended there. A stupid joke. A weird moment between me and Mia. Something we'd laugh about and forget by morning. But life never works that cleanly. After Mia finally convinced me to change back into my normal clothes, the apartment slowly returned to normal. The dress went back into the closet. The makeup wipes erased the evidence from my face. On the surface, everything looked the same again. But something inside me had shifted. I could feel it. While Mia ordered pizza and scrolled through her phone, I sat quietly on the couch pretending to watch television. But my mind wasn't on the TV. Kept replaying the same moment over and over again. The mirror. The dress. The strange feeling that had spread through my chest when I saw myself. Not embarrassment. Not shame. Something else. Something dangerously close to excitement. I rubbed my face and tried to shake the thought away. It was just a joke. That's what I kept telling myself. But the truth was harder to ignore now. 'Cause once you open a door like that, it's impossible to pretend it doesn't exist. Pizza's on the way, Mia said casually. Good, I replied. She looked over at me with a small smile. You're quiet. I'm thinking. About the dress? My eyes immediately snapped toward her. No. She laughed softly. Daniel, relax. I am relaxed. Your face says otherwise. I didn't respond. Instead, I leaned back into the couch and stared at the ceiling. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then Mia said something quietly. You know, you don't have to pretend. That made my stomach tighten. Pretend what? That you hated it. I turned toward her. I didn't hate it, I admitted carefully. Her smile widened slightly. I know. That simple answer made my heart beat faster. You knew. I could see it on your face. I looked away. That suddenly felt too personal. But Mia didn't push further. Instead, she stood up and walked toward the bedroom. I'll be back, she said. Where are you going? Just grabbing something. A minute later, she returned holding a small object in her hand. My stomach immediately dropped. The black heels. Mia. What? We're not doing that again. She laughed. Relax. She placed them gently on the floor in front of the couch. I'm not forcing you. Good. But I'm also not stopping you. I stared at the shoes. They sat there quietly, waiting. The same dangerous whisper from earlier returned to my mind. Just try it again. I quickly stood up. Nope. Mia raised an eyebrow. What? Not happening. You look like you're running away from a pair of shoes. I am. She laughed again. But this time there was something different in her eyes. Curiosity. Like she was watching an experiment unfold. And that made me even more uncomfortable. Daniel, she said softly. What? You know I'm not judging you, right? I hesitated. I know. Then why are you acting like you just committed a crime? I'm not. Kind of looks like it. I sighed. You're overanalyzing everything. Occupational hazard. Before I could respond, a loud knock suddenly echoed through the apartment. Both of us froze. Another knock followed immediately. My heart skipped. Were you expecting someone? I asked. Mia shook her head. No. The knock came again. Louder this time. Daniel. The voice from outside the door made my blood turn cold. I knew that voice. Ryan. Mia said in confusion. Ryan. My best friend. The last person on earth who should be here right now. What the hell? I whispered. Mia walked toward the door. Wait, I said quickly. But she had already opened it. Ryan stepped inside carrying a 6-pack of beer. Surprise, he said cheerfully. Then he stopped. His eyes slowly moved across the room and landed directly on the floor, on the black heels. Silence filled the apartment. Ryan looked at the shoes, then at me, then back at the shoes again. His eyebrows slowly raised. Well, he said slowly. This is interesting. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might explode. Mia looked between both of us, realizing something was wrong. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" she asked. "Thought I'd surprise you guys," he said. But his eyes were still locked on me. And then he smiled. Not a normal smile. A suspicious one. Did I interrupt something? My mind went completely blank. 'Cause in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Ryan wasn't stupid. He knew me too well. And the heels sitting in the middle of the living room were about to expose everything. Ryan slowly stepped inside and closed the door behind him. Then he looked at me again and said something that made my stomach drop. "Daniel." His voice sounded amused. Why do I feel like I just walked in at a very interesting moment? I couldn't answer. Mia looked confused. Ryan looked curious. And the black heels sat quietly between us like evidence in a crime scene. One wrong word, and my secret would be completely destroyed. But here's the real question. Did Ryan already figure it out? Or was this just the beginning of something much worse? Because what happened next would force me into a situation where hiding the truth might become impossible. If you've made it this far, I want to ask you something. What do you think Ryan is going to do next? Will he expose the secret? Or will he turn it into something even more dangerous? Comment your prediction below. 'Cause in the next story, everything changes.